You can't be influential and insecure. You want other people to follow you, but you pretend like you don't. You want to lead, but you also leave your house every day trying to please people. That's not how you lead. You don't want people to follow you. I want, when people follow you, they critique you nonstop. They judge you. They expect more of you than they will ever expect of themselves. They hold you accountable for their shortcomings because they're looking to you to make sense of their delusion and illusions. And if you're not tapped in and constantly pushing them back towards themselves, eventually the same people that follow you will leave you. Because, let's be real. Everybody in life is trying to do the same thing until we awaken. Everybody in life is trying to win based on the comparison of what others are doing and what I think I should be doing. So if I'm following somebody and I'm not seeing the results that I'm looking for, eventually I determine what I'm following as ineffective and deficient. And I say that this was just a stepping stone towards what I was supposed to really be following, and then I find something else that appears to be of higher quality. You'll have way more influence when influence comes from a place of love rather than wanting influence. I think motive is key in everything that we do. It's perfectly fine to make the observation that I want influence, but the next thing I should ask myself is why. And I should be just as honest with the why as I am about what it is that I want. Because if I place myself in a delusionary state and I make what I want out to be something I want because I want a better world for other people, when it's really my selfish desires and my own ambitions that drives what it is that I'm after, then I can't, from that place of dishonesty with myself, properly pursue what it is that I'm chasing. I'll actually end up chasing attention, thinking that I'm on some type of commendable journey that's centered around the needs of other people. We got enough of those. And there's a big difference between influence and control. Like, I have to ask myself, honestly, is it influence that I'm after, or is it the control of others? Is it that I know that there is a truth that lives in me that would benefit the lives of others, so I want to be heard? Or is it that I'm afraid of not being listened to? Is it that I see other people get attention and I see other people speak and gain admiration and I want a piece of that? Is my desire of myself, or is it of the will that benefits all? See, all are connected. So everything that I desire for myself has implications for you. If I set my mind on the sole satisfaction of my physical expression, the malnutrition of my spirit, my higher self would not be able to facilitate any type of genuine love and expression for you. So anyone that benefits from my expressions of love would be shorted by my selfishness. And that is what it is to be directly connected to all. That's why whoever is in front of me is not another person. They're just a reflection of me. They're an extension of me. There's a power cord running from my inside world that extends into the back of another being, what I call another person. This is my reflection. This person is powered by my supply. I am the source of what I get from this person. I am the source of how I'm treated by this person. I am the source of how this person operates in my day-to-day, because they can only reflect and give me back what I'm giving from my inner world, my inner state. Have I silenced my fears? Have I silenced my worries? Have I disattached from my attachments so that I can begin to let go and enter into a flow, a tranquility of peace, a liberation, of freedom that extends beyond anything that we've ever been able to imagine, from the confines that we were born in. I don't know who you were in high school, but high school is a perfect scene to see how influence truly works amongst the observation of how human nature works. Like the kid that started the craze, the kid that wore the shirt backwards first, if it worked, if it became a thing on campus, okay, there were two kids that would do, two groups of kids that would do a similar thing, but there would be a total different reaction to them. There was a group of kids that did things for attention, did things to try to be influential, and there were a group of kids that did what they wanted with confidence. Now, the first group, they were constantly disappointed with the reactions that they were getting, because when they did certain things, they would do it for the reaction. So the attention wasn't on what they were doing, it was on the lack of a response that they received when they jumped off the school bus and they got on campus, and everybody wasn't stopping what they were doing to see how they wore their outfit or the new way they styled their hair. They said the statement 30 times that day between the 6-7 periods of class that they had, and nobody's catching on to the fact that it's supposed to be a catchphrase. And then there was the other group. There was the group that just flowed and had fun and lived freely. And in those moments of free flow, certain things would happen that were so enjoyable and resonated so deeply with the reflections around them that they wanted to partake in that joy as well. See, you want influence to give people what? You want influence to give people information? That sounds like you think that you know so much that everyone should sit down, take notes from you, and do it your way. But if we sit down and looked at your life, we would see that you have some inconsistencies. You have some prolonged battles that seem pretty simple to solve. You've had a million solutions for them over a course of a decade, but yet those issues are still prevalent to you. So when we look at your life, we don't see such a life that says that you have lifing down to a science and you should be delegating down to us how it should go. But we see a lot of that. We see a lot of people who know what we should do, but their answer to everything concerning themselves is, I don't know. But check this out. We see a lot of that. If you see a lot of that, it's because you do a lot of that. See, I come from the world of intellect. I come from logic. And we all do to a different degree. I did a lot of reading. I esteemed the power of thinking. So I was really attached to my thoughts. I was really attached to my ability to analyze and decrypt and comprehend all of the low-lying mechanisms that allow for us to build a false sense of comfortability and safety. I know what's coming next. I can predict based on my abundance of knowledge how this is going to go. I come from that. I come from the world of the intellect. When I would get in trouble, my mama would make me go get the dictionary after she beat my behind most times. And I had to sit down and write words, copy words out of the dictionary, word for word. And she would even take her time to make sure that we wrote the whole definition. And it wasn't because she was a jerk. It was because she was using her time to discipline me, to build my mental on the intellectual level, because she knew that in the realm of the physical, that would be much needed. But when we do stuff like this, we don't see. I can use my ability to twist words and make presentations to manipulate you and get you to do certain things. But it's a complete waste of my time, because if I manipulate you and get you to do certain things, once I have you in that space where you're manipulated and you're doing what I want you to do, there will be something inside of that presentation that I don't like, that you still do. And so I'll go into a manipulation of the manipulation, and I'll work that out of there. But I have no control over what this results in for the person I'm manipulating. And manipulation is only fun when you think that you can control the outcome of the manipulated. It would make no sense to manipulate anybody if I didn't think that on the other side of manipulating them, they would be everything that I wanted them to be. But again, is that how any of our desires work? With everything that we want comes what we don't want. If I want something, it will be accompanied with things that I did not plan for, I did not ask for, I didn't necessarily want. I want to move out, but I don't want to pay rent. I want money, but I don't want a job. I want a new car, but I don't want a car payment. I got a car payment because I wanted a car, but now I'm stuck on my job. See, I cannot follow my thoughts anywhere besides in a circle. My thoughts know no new paths. All my reserve of information that's locked inside of our heads knows is the past. So from the past, I reach in and determine what I'm looking at in the moment. From the past of my mind, I go in and predict what my future will look like. And every day I wake up, I say, I want change. Well, if I want change, I have to look elsewhere besides in my reserve of the past. Most of us are not after influence. Most of us are after what we perceive to be power. And you ever notice when someone who thinks that they're powerful says something and tells somebody to do something, they don't ask, they tell them to do something. You ever noticed that even though that person of high authority demanded something of another person, it was not given to them until the other their reflection submitted to the request. So at the end of the day, nobody has ever made anybody do anything. Some people have been led to believe that because they're normally submitted to when they give a demand, that they've been making people do what they want them to do. But I guarantee you they know somebody that don't listen. I guarantee you they know somebody that they don't waste their time telling what to do because they know isn't going to do it because they were told to do it. And I guarantee you when they see them people in public around the other people that they have control over, they wasting no energy messing up their presentation of having control over people by trying to control a person that they know that they can't control. The only person that's able to be put on a joystick, the only person that you're going to plug up to a controller is somebody who doesn't know that they have the free will and choice to choose what it is that they do and don't do, what they think about and don't think about, where they go and don't go. I'm not going somewhere just because you want me to go or you expect me to be there. Why are you disappointed when you got where you wanted to be or when you got where you went because you felt obligated to go and I wasn't there? It sounds like you're jealous. If you're there and didn't want to be there and I'm not there because I didn't want to be there, why are you upset with me? You should be proud of me. You should be proud of me for doing what you should have did. And let's move on your true desires. If you don't want to go, tell them people you don't want to go. You don't want to be there, tell them you don't want to be there. You don't have to disrespect nobody. You don't have to become obnoxious. Very casually, I won't be in attendance. Stop giving up dictatorship. I mean, you give your throne over to anybody. You give your throne over to your pets. You give your throne over to your kids. You give your throne over to your friends. You give your throne over to your companion. You give your throne over to your parents. You give your throne over to your teachers, your employers. You give your throne over to the people you volunteer for. You give your throne over at church. You give your throne over anywhere. It seems like you will do anything to not sit on the throne and have authority and dominion like you were given. It's as if you want somebody else to run your kingdom. It's as if you don't know you have a kingdom. I'm not the one who gets to determine what the issue is. I'm just saying, this is what it looks like. It looks like your kingdom is being ran by a king who doesn't know that he's king. It looks like your kingdom is being ran by a queen that doesn't know that she's a queen, and she's complaining about the lack of kingly effort that she's found to enter her kingdom and come and run it for her. Man. Listen, if when I arrive to your kingdom, it's in shambles, I'm not going to instantly judge you. I'm going to come and inquire as to what was the calamity, what happened. And if you try to convince me, male or female, whoever you are, if you try to convince me that your kingdom is in shambles because of the acts of another person, you want me to believe that someone hateful came through your kingdom and destroyed it while you were being lovely. But that's not how this world works. That's not how the universe flows. There is an iron rod. There is universal code. There is divine principle. If someone hateful entered your kingdom, it was because there was hate in your kingdom that attracted them there. If someone left damage, left rubble, ground zero, that's not the act of another person. It took you burning your own kingdom down. I mean, they came in, they attacked, but you gave attention to it. You watered it to the place where even in their absence, you still looked like a complete reflection of everything you went through that you're no longer going through. And that's not cool. Your kingdom, your life is a reflection of who you are, whether you know it or not. Your life, your kingdom is a reflection of who you're operating as, whether you're able to admit it or not. That's more accurate. Because who you are is etched in stone, immovable, unchangeable, unshakable, forever, eternally, the truth that never will ever change. Who you are can't change. You may not know who you are. So you identify with parts of yourself or parts of your presentation that derives from the illusion of your ego. And those are always changing. But who you are in essence, in truth, your higher self, the part of you that will exist in some form or another forever. Ain't no changing that. That's never the problem. So, I don't have to wrestle with it. I don't have to be ashamed of it. I use it as my way of knowing what needs revision. If this is off in my physical expression, I know that my thinking is off about it, so I can go and make an adjustment. But if I won't even admit that what I'm looking at is a product of me, and I start blaming someone else, then how will I ever get to the other side? The way we were taught to think is just backwards, ass backwards. Like, I want to be influential. It's a weird desire. It's a weird one. Like, I want other people to listen to me. What put you under the impression that other people weren't listening to you? I want people to do what I do. Why? Sounds like you lack the confidence to stand alone in what it is that you want to express. Really, if we be honest, some of the things that we've learned to say are just statements. They're not truths about ourselves. They're not real reflections of where we are. They're statements. They're words that we use to give others the idea that we're operating from a place that we're not. And that's why I don't do any bashing women. I don't do any bashing to anybody. I mean, I speak on what I speak on, but you never really have to worry about me being one of those men that has an issue with women in the way they are, because I love words. And there is nothing in this world, no man, no woman, there is nothing in this world more seductive and more sneaky than words. You can develop the best relationship with them, and they still will mislead you anytime you're not attentive to truth. Anytime you get wrapped up in the presence of any word, you stand to lose sight of reality. And that's what y'all make women out to be. Ain't no biggie. That's how a lot of y'all deal with getting a new boyfriend or dealing with a new man in your life. You submit your entire existence to him. You become his little AI bot, and you expect for him to become yours in certain ways. And if there's any revolt on either side, then you say, you're not being loved properly and somebody else could do it better. This drive that we have for influence is not just something we see on social media, not just something we see in professional fields. This is something that we see even at home. Parents are upset with their kids because their kids are more inclined to listen to the guidance of outside sources. Spouses are upset with spouses because you smiled harder when you were talking to your friends than when I talked to you in the confines of our bedroom. Comparison is genuinely the thief of all joy. And we literally spend all day comparing. Like that's what we were taught to do. Living by the ego, living by the power of our previous recollections, living by our own understanding. The best that you can settle for is constant comparison. And in constant comparison, there is no joy and no chance of joy to come until you stop doing something that's become so familiar to you that you do it unconsciously. Comparison. I can't even determine whether I'm influential or not influential without comparison. I cannot judge you or myself without comparison. Understand that. Look, we're going to wrap it up right there. It is impossible for me to carry out the atrocious act of judging my reflection or the self-sabotaging act of judging myself when I eliminate the act of comparison from my day-to-day existence. Cutting comparison is key. Cutting comparison will end the desire for influence and allow you to flow freely into true happiness, fam. True peace. Understanding you've always been influential. Understanding that though no one is always watching you, people have always saw you. To know that it was you in your thoughts in certain rooms thinking that you were being overlooked. Trust me, somebody saw your insecurity that day. Somebody saw your lack of confidence that day. Somebody saw your anger that day. Somebody saw your discontent that day. We spend a lot of time around sleeping individuals, but understand that there are more awakened beings than you give credit to. And once I awaken to the truth of myself, once I'm loving myself and I'm not wrapped up in my constant thoughts all day about what I need to do to be okay and what I need to do to get ahead of you, I can begin to see clearly. And I'm not stuck on actions. When you walk in the room and we embrace, or you walk in the room and, I connect with who you are. I'm not basing any of this on your appearance. I don't care whether you have makeup on. I don't care if you got a ski mask on. You're not scary. Nah, it's not. Nah. I see you. I can see that you're conflicted with yourself, or I can see that you're at peace. I can feel your vibration of aggression and rage, or I can feel the fact that you've begun to settle yourself. And we all have that ability. We all can operate from that capacity. We're designed to. My feelings were not given to me to be survival mechanisms like they've become. I was given thriving mechanisms, and my thriving mechanisms are my ability to create from what it is that I can see within myself, my ability to reach into what appears to be nothing and pull something out. My thriving ability is my ability to observe through a reflection the inconsistencies within my inner world and go in and destroy and rebuild and renew and replenish so that on the exterior, what I am experiencing can be replaced by what I've imagined.